Bee attacks across the Rio Grande Valley have residents worried. Plus, we'll tell you how to combat your seasonal allergies, and a new member of the family joins UTRGV men's basketball. All this and more as UTRGV TV starts now. Hey there, thanks for joining us on this week's edition of UTRGV TV. I am Orlando Vargas. Well, with spring in full bloom, bees have stirred up fear among residents in the Rio Grande Valley, but what most don't realize is that the danger can be found in their homes. Our Cassandra Torres tells us more.
It's a sound which causes alarm for most, and recently in the valley, it's coming from Home Sweet Home.
Anywhere you can probably think of, I found beehives at. Why? Because we're taking over there. There's no more wildlife left. So of course, bees gotta survive as well. So they're taking home in our residences, in our homes. So now they're finding tires in the canals. They're finding trash. I found them in sofas.
To keep your home from becoming theirs, preventative measures are a must.
It's a harsh reality that a lot of folks that do get stung up, they don't know that beehive is there. So the general public and the residents in town, if before you cut your grass, make it a habit to know your surroundings, to make sure you know your area, your property.
And if you do find an infestation, taking matters into your own hands may be a bad move.
Don't try this at home. I've been doing this for many years. I make it look easy on videos, and there's other videos you can Google on how to remove a beehive. And just like there's other videos on how to do this and that on Google, in this case, you're playing with your life. It's just like you're messing with electricity or gas or any other. There's professionals that do this for a living that can take care of this problem for you.
For this year's spring, safety starts in your home. In Donna for UTRGV, Cassandra Torres.
Now to a medical problem that hundreds suffer from, allergies. Now the year-round itching and sneezing can be triggered without warning signs. Our Jessica Encinia shows us how you can battle the problem.
Certain things, like trees, dirt, and grass, are some of the factors that people with allergies may suffer from.
Dr. Cristel Escalona, MD at UTRGV's Health Services Clinic, explains the causes.
Allergies are kind of like an overreaction of your immune system, where your immune system looks at something that shouldn't harm you in any way, such as dust or pollen, and it mounts a response.
For many people, allergies may cause problems such as discomfort throughout their day.
Just being uncomfortable, like you want to go out and then like you just feel sick all the time, or sometimes you just randomly start sneezing, or you just start getting a rash and you're like, hey, you know, what's going on? Sometimes you don't bring your medicine or anything like that, so that's just the really sucky part, that you just don't know whenever it's going to act up.
UTRGV's Health Services Clinic offers checkups and treatments for those experiencing allergy symptoms.
We take a look at your ears, your nose, your throat, we listen to your lungs, and first line treatment is over the counter. A lot of our patients here are uninsured, so we have you try over the counter things because prescription allergy medicines are very costly.
Dr. Escalon advises several ways to continue treating spring allergies.
You could try the nasal steroid, you can try the antihistamines and just see how you do. If you're better, then keep taking them for as long as whatever's blooming is offending you.
And now that we are aware of allergy symptoms and treatments, we can now enjoy the spring season. In Edinburgh, Jessica Encinia, UTRGV TV.
The Dream Home in Edinburgh has been a safe haven to many undocumented students living here in the Rio Grande Valley. Now construction will begin on a new public garden space, and the home is taking the next step in involving the community. Our reporter Steven Cavazos was in attendance as the renovation began.
Put together piles of debris, plus the labor of volunteers, and the outcome is a sanctuary open to the Edinburgh community. That's what Ricardo Rojas hopes to accomplish within the next few months.
Essentially, it's just a place where you can go, hang out, and think, share, and grow.
Although the garden will serve as a public domain, the space is being constructed in the backyard of a residence for undocumented students known as Dream Home, and Rojas saw an opportunity to provide students a safe haven to gather.
I thought, hey, I make gardens, I make sustainable food systems, let's do something for the students.
Dream Home opened its doors to students in August of 2015, And Sarah Chavez, the founder of the residence, says being born in the city of Guadalajara and her ties to various organizations helped her conceive the idea of Dream Home.
Working with the Minority Affairs Council at UTRGV, working with groups like United We Dream, and seeing the need within the community made it very important for me to move forward.
The 5-bedroom residence is home to several students under the age of 22. Although the home has gradually flourished since its opening in August, Chavez says there's still some way to go.
Of course, there's a lot more details that go into it, but at the end of the day, I feel like everyone deserves a home.
Those details include the renovation that is taking place behind the home, which Chavez hopes the community will also enjoy.
We're putting in a garden space thanks to Ricardo the big tree, and so we're building mounds, and that, on top of that we're going to put the garden, and it will be edible, organic, and it also is going to be available to the community here on Kano and Mall, which is basically the center of Edinburgh.
Chavez hopes to have the garden completed before Dream Home's 1-year anniversary this August. As of now, the door does remain open for students looking to call a place home.
This is a home. We want these students here. We want to see them grow, and they're incredibly capable, and I'm proud of them.
In Edinburgh, Stephen Cavazos, UTRGV TV.
Now, construction on the garden will continue over the summer, and for more information on how to get involved, you can search Big Tree Earth Sculptures or Dream Home on Facebook. Now, UTRGV's chess team competed in the national Final Four tournament of chess in the Big Apple. Our Atalia Lara tells us how this game of brains brought recognition to the Rogan Valley.
UTRGV's very own chess team finished second at this weekend's national championship tournament.
In the first game, I was close to lose, so I was a bit afraid, but it wasn't a big deal because everything was under control. So.
Webster, UTRGV, Texas Tech, and Columbia Universities went head-to-head in the Final Four tournament that took place in New York City.
I feel very happy because of my students, because what they achieved first at Pan American Championships, that we tied for the first place, then at Final Four, that we proved that we are one of the best colleges. We are second in nation, best in Texas.
Even though they placed second place in the nation, they continue to train for their next competition.
The guys will keep playing tournaments, training tournaments to stay in good shape, and then we'll come back next academic year even more hungry of success and with belief that yes, we can do this.
In Brownsville, Atalia Lara, UTRGV TV.
A hip-hop artist visited UTRGV in an effort to bring awareness to students about the importance of Hispanic culture. Our Karen de los Reyes tells us more.
UTRGV is known as the nation's top producer of Hispanic graduates, with 89% of students being Hispanic. The Department of Mexican American Studies organized an event hosted by hip-hop artist Olmeca.
Learning all those lyrics, the following day.
The lecture and workshop focused around the Chicano movement and Latino identity.
Talking about the Mexican experience in the United States, both undocumented folks and people who have been here for ages.
As a young Latino growing up in LA, Olmeca explains where his motivation comes from.
In the same way that it has its negative stereotypes, there's beauty in those communities more than anything. That's kind of what it's not that we disregard the other, but we also want to bring light and focus into these other more beautiful, I guess, stereotypes.
Olmeca advises students to be more proactive and to speak up when something is not right.
Symbolic gestures of defiance are probably the most important thing. Perhaps you're not going to change whatever it is that you're fighting for or fighting against, but the symbolic gesture of being defiant and knowing that there's a voice against that, it's going to trickle and it's going to cause an effect, a chain reaction.
Students also spoke out about the obstacles they have faced as a minority in the U.S.
Whenever anyone asks me to identify myself, I do say Mexican American.
Ranked top 4 in the number of bachelor's degrees awarded to Hispanics, UTRGV helps students embrace their culture and heritage. For UTRGV TV, I am Karen de los Reyes.
UTRGV baseball is in full swing, and the UTRGV men's basketball team welcomes a new member to their family starting this fall. Our Daniel Galvan has more in this week's sports.
Another week in America and the year 2016 means two things. One, more future marriages were initiated by a Tinder swipe or a super like. And two, a lot of sports happened. Villanova won the men's basketball championship in an amazing finish. The UConn women's team won their championship, which is like their championship now, given how many they've won. They own it now. And of course, WrestleMania took place, and you may say that professional wrestling isn't real, but my action figure collection is, and they're not dolls, Mom. But anyways, as for UTRGV, a lot of things did happen. All right, the school hired a new basketball coach, Lou Hill, and I will get to that. But first, let's start with baseball, the sport that gave us that one time where we can all agree that Charlie Sheen was actually good in one thing, that thing being Major League. So the team played 4 games at home this past week. They went 2-2, starting off with a 9-3 win over WAC opponent, New Mexico State. Now, every Friday night, there's Mr. Friday Night Lights, Johnny Gonzalez. He has been the team's ace pitcher, and he continued to be really good at baseball. He threw 134 pitches, which is more steps than I've walked this past week, and he did that in 8 innings of work. Gonzalez struck out 10 Aggie batters, gave up just 1 earned run and only 4 hits. That was his 4th win of the year, and his ERA on the year is 1.18. That's awesome. You get the ERA statistic by multiplying 9 for the amount of innings in a game by the runs a pitcher gives up divided by the innings he pitched. That's how you get that. But out of every single pitcher in college baseball, Gonzalez has the 18th best ERA in the nation. That's huge. In terms of scoring the 9 runs, Victor Garcia had 3 RBIs thanks to this big double in the first inning, and then Corey Davis had a big double also, bringing home Scott Mercer all the way from California, and also people see him but they just don't know, Jacob Huckabee. The Vaqueros would go on to lose Saturday and Sunday here at home to New Mexico State, 12-3 and 7-3. Still, they rebounded on Tuesday, playing Incarnate Word for the 2nd time this year. UTRGV lost a couple weeks ago, but on Tuesday they won here in Edinburgh 4-3. And a big reason for that win was pitcher Ryan Jackson. He had his best start of the year, pitching 7 2/3 innings, giving up 3 earned runs and striking out 6 batters. Now the good guys jumped to a 2-run lead with the score in the 3rd, and then this sacrifice fly from Jose Garcia that allowed Jacob Huckabee to cross the plate. Things then started to look very bad, though. In the 7th and 8th inning, Incarnate Word scored 3 runs there, getting the lead, and it looked like the UTRGV team would drop the game. But when you need a man to deliver in the clutch, you got to call Papa John. But if he doesn't answer, you call Scott Mercer. As you can see, here he is growing out a beard in support of his hero, James Harden. Mercer was at the plate when UTRGV had the walk-off wins over Texas State and Prairie View A&M earlier in the season, and he was at the plate here in a big spot. Down 1 in the bottom of the 8th, Mercer hit a single and brought in the tying and winning runs as Austin Douglas and Mike Garcia scored. With the win, UTRGV is 12-13, and they will look to get over 500 this weekend as they are in Chicago, and they'll be playing Chicago State Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But before moving on, one important note. On Friday, center fielder Cole Longcar and shortstop Caden Rochot collided as they both tried to catch a pop-up, and it was a brutal collision. Both guys suffered concussions, and they're still dealing with that. So just sending them good thoughts, and I hope to see them recover as soon as possible. But on to the big news. UTRGV did what it does best. They hired a new basketball coach. Now, you can call that cynical, but I would just say that's observant, all right? Given that the program has not had a coach for more than 6 straight years since 1973, back when Sam Williams was the man with the whistle and the clipboard. Now, I mentioned that to start just to offer some balance and some perspective, because in the moment, I'm actually really optimistic about the hire. UTRGV brought in Lou Hill to be the new men's basketball coach. He was most recently an assistant at Oklahoma under former UTPA coach Lon Kruger, and he spent time with him as an assistant both there and at UNLV. All right, he's got experience. He's been an assistant for over 20 years, also at Texas A&M, Eastern Carolina, and I'm excited to watch Coach Hill and the men's basketball team go to work. There was a press conference on Wednesday with athletic director Chris King, President Guy Bailey, and of course, Coach there announcing the hire, and it was pretty special. Lon Kruger was actually in the building, and I couldn't get a good angle of him, but I promise that this angle is actually him, the back of the head shot I have here, I hope that's him, and if it's not Lon Kruger, just like close your eyes and imagine that's him, because if I attended a press conference and Lon Kruger was there and I did not get video of him, I am in some serious trouble. Anyways, Coach Hill had a lot of great things to say at the press conference, but I especially liked his confidence and his vision he had for the program.
And the one thing I know that we haven't done yet, man, we have never been to an NCAA tournament. So guess what? That's the only thing. I don't like spring breaks. I haven't been on a spring break in a long time. So guess what? We got to change that. Okay? And like I told you all on my interview, the winning starts today.
I also spoke to him directly and asked him about the kind of style the team will play with.
My vision, we're going to run out and tag, shoot threes. If I got a post that can post, throw it in the post, let him go to work, play very, very unselfish, want to average 15 to 18 assists a game, want to share the ball, but always putting pressure on people, want to get into that paint, drive and kick.
Now, there's a lot to be excited about for the future of the program. But in closing, and I want to take a more serious note here, one thing I want to see in the present day with the program is that all the athletic scholarships that were promised under the previous coaching regime to each and every basketball player, I want to see all those scholarships honored until they transfer, fulfill the years, or graduate. Firstly, it's important to note that I do think that it is a great injustice presently that football and basketball players aren't paid and all college athletes don't have control over their likeness. It's a thing that I believe future generations will look back on and be disgusted with the fact that the primary workforce behind a yearly revenue stream that is estimated to be greater than the GDP of 50 countries is receiving roughly 10% of that value. Hat tip to Patrick Ruby of Buy Sports for that. And I find it illogical that an education is fair, keyword being fair, value for the money being generated by these athletes, just given that that argument was made in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and now in 2016, the players are receiving the same package they did then, despite the fact that the money being generated by the TV deals has skyrocketed. All right, while education cost has risen dramatically, just as my mom, it hasn't been close to proportional to the value of sports programming. So that's an important thing to note. But still, if we accept the facade that education is fair compensation for these athletes, it would be unethical and gross, in my opinion, to take that promise that was made to some of these players that took a risk and came down here to the Valley to represent this university and take that promise away from them before they're available to bear the fruit of getting that degree. So every basketball player that was promised an education should have that promise maintained and fulfilled. And while some may say that basketball is a business where tough decisions are made based on-court production and success and tough luck, while people may say that basketball is a business and that players are aware of that risk, the thing is that, and I could be wrong here, but in a business, the employees are paid. Reporting for UTRGV TV, I'm Daniel Galvan.
And before we say goodbye, I'd like to congratulate our UTRGV student media for bringing in a combined 30 awards during the TIPA 26 convention in Dallas. Now, the Writer newspaper, the Pulse magazine, and UTRGV TV and radio competed against some of the state's top broadcast schools. And UTRGV TV, of course, won second place in the state for Best Newscast. With that, stay safe, and we hope to see you next time.